All right, as far as movies go, Twilight, Twilight, Twilight. Okay, the new movie Eclipse which is in the Twilight saga. If you don't know anything about Twilight, if you don't know who Edward and Bella are, come on. All right, you need to know who Edward and Bella are. For those of you that have never read the Twilight books or seen the movies, I strongly urge you to do so. Anytime a book is a phenomenon like the Twilight series is with teenagers, you've got teenagers anywhere from, yeah, I mean, even 10 years old. I've got 10-year-old girls just dying to read these books, and sometimes their moms won't let them quite yet because they're 10. But you know, anywhere from 10 years old all the way to 40-year-old women reading these books, as well as young men. I thought at first this was just a girl thing, you know, because it's this love story or whatever, but it's not. I mean, the teenage guys read it like the teenage girls do, you know, because it's got this vampire hero mentality, and it's action-packed enough that it draws the guys in. It's just brilliant. It's a genius concept, and anytime you have something that has swept the nation, and you've got these high school kids that typically don't even like to read. You know, they complain about their schoolwork and, you know, how much they have, and you give them, you know, reading assignments and stuff like that, and half of them don't want to do it, or they just go get the Spark Notes or the Cliff Notes or whatever. And, you know, you've got all this homework that they have to do, and yet they still find the time to read 400- and 500-page books that are this thick. You know, anytime a book does that with teenagers, we need to get into it, look into it, and see what's going on there. How did they connect so well? What are they doing? And if nothing else, I read the books to find out what language that Stephanie Meyer uses. How did she write this to captivate a teenage audience like that? You know, because the story isn't really anything original. You know, it's a love story where you know, you have a vampire and the girl falls in love with the bad boy, and it's kind of a forbidden love kind of thing. I mean, that's, you know, that plot and story's been around forever. So how did she capture an audience like that and do what she has done? And because she has, teenagers are just going crazy for this movie, and rightfully so. It's fantastic. So if you haven't read the books or at least seen the movie, I urge you to do so. If for nothing else, you're going to get an insight as to what it is that these teenagers are loving about this, and you'll be able to talk to them about it. Connecting with your students sometimes is nothing more than being able to talk to them about something that they are into. Even if you just drop a line, like oftentimes in a program, in a show at a high school or something, or at a junior high, from the stage, I'm talking about different cliques that we are a part of, you know, and different cliques that we sit together at this table, and this group of people sits together at this table, and then you got that one table, and maybe you want to run for student office, but you got that one table that's just the coolest people in the world, and beautiful people, and they're sitting at that table, and everybody, you know, you guys know that table, it's the Cullens. The Cullens are all sitting at that table, and instantly when I say that, a teenage audience erupts with laughter because they understand exactly who that is. And I even say something like this. I say, you know, what we all want to be. You know, we all want to be more than we are. We all are striving to be cooler than we are and find ourselves and find our image, but it's always cooler than we are. That's why we love movies like Braveheart and Gladiator and stuff, because we see part of ourselves being able to rise up and be triumphant like this. Well, Twilight hits it perfectly. We see, you know, that everybody, every one of us, we all want to be Edward, but really, we're all Bella. And a teenage audience connects with that. They understand that. They know exactly the reference that I'm talking about. So there's two things right there that you could use and pitch to your class, just like I did. When you're talking about anything as far as values go, as far as who they identify with, who they hang out with, their cliques, but also with who they want to be. You know, everybody, you know, in high school, that's, you know, junior high and high school, that's kind of where you find yourself, who you're going to be. You know, not what you're going to do, but who you are, who you're going to be. And those little references like that really make a big impact on your teenagers, because they're watching these movies for those specific purposes. So, Twilight. Now, I included a link right down here at the bottom of this. You can go and click and see the preview to the new Eclipse movie. And that right there should just give you enough to go on to be able to talk about it just a little bit. They raise up an army of vampires, and it's up to the werewolves to fight them off, and Bella and Edward are right in the middle of it, you know. So it's a good link, and it's real short. So just click on that and you'll check it out. Also, I get really into the Twilight movies, as you can see from the pictures and stuff. You know, dressing up and going out there, anything to connect with the young people. But also, I just like to do it. You know, it's a little fun. Sometimes to connect with young people, you gotta get a little bit weird. So I don't mind doing that. Hopefully, you don't either.